Channel 10 Nelson, your community access television. Programming on this channel is made by local volunteers. If you would like to be a part of your community television, please call 354-4200 or write to Shaw Cable, 613 Ward Street, Nelson, B1L1T2.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This program is to discuss business opportunities at your doorstep. There is a conference by that name coming on Saturday, April the 28th, 1990, going to be held at the Canadian International College, and the registration is being handled through the Nelson and District Chamber of Commerce. My name is Wayne Watkins. I'm your host for this program. Our guests today are the Honorable Howard Dirks, MLA for Nelson Creston, and is the person responsible for bringing the conference to this area. Mr. Dirks is aware of the other conferences throughout the province that have led to ideas about new business opportunities in the various regions. Our next guest is Doug Roberts, a successful manufacturer of wind chimes in Kaslo and a guest speaker at one of the seminars of the conference, the seminar entitled Arts and Crafts Businesses. Doug has 2 successful gift shops and is a chain of independent retailers selling his products across Canada. Our next guest is Barrie Taylor. Barrie is a director with the Nelson and District Chamber of Commerce. He's a local businessman who took a chance, knows what it's all about to do a market survey prior to a business expansion, and has been working hard to develop a successful business in Nelson. The Business Opportunities at Your Doorstep Conference on Saturday, April the 28th. I'd like to ask Honorable Howard Dirks. Howard, 85% of new jobs created by the private sector are created really by small business. Is this a trend that you expect to continue, particularly in this region?
Well, very definitely, especially in this region. We are blessed with a diversity in our economy. And I think the other key factor that I think is very important is the fact that most of the new jobs are created by people in the area. And that's why I'm really excited about this program coming to town.
The purpose of this Business Opportunities at Your Doorstep Conference is to identify realistic business opportunities for people in this area. Do you feel that the Nelson area, this region, has potential opportunities for growth in the small business sector for the people that are already living in the area?
Very definitely, extremely. This is where the potential really is. People in this area, they're already settled here. They see the potential, but I think it's programs like this that will help them realize that potential, how they can put their ideas actually into action.
Another objective of the conference is to encourage potential entrepreneurs to establish a new business, as well as to encourage people that are already in business to look at expanding and diversifying. And how valuable would you say it is to hear speakers that have already established their businesses, such as one of our guests today, and are willing to share their experiences about the hurdles and the pitfalls of getting into business?
Well, I think too often if we have what I classify as visiting firemen come in from the outside, the experts come in from the outside for seminars and whatnot, local people think, but he's not really connected to the real world. He hasn't done it himself before. He's giving you a book example of what can or cannot be done. I'd sooner hear from someone who has actually tried it, who has made a success of it, and knows all the pitfalls. And I think what's very interesting about this program is that you are using people in this area that we have seen in the past. We recognize them as community leaders, as people in the area, and so we can say, yes, he has gone through the mill. He knows what this area is about. He knows what potential the area is. He knows the pitfalls. And when he talks, he's speaking from experience.
Another objective of the Business Opportunities Conference is to discuss ideas for stimulating certain focus industries locally that have been identified by the Community Business Resource Team. What would you say the next step is once these ideas have been identified and an opportunity for a business has been identified by the individual? What's the next move of a person who has gone to the conference, zeroed in on a business opportunity? You know, what's next if they want to go into business?
Well, I think that's one of the key things that you will have there as well. You will have people like CRETA, the FDBD, Selkirk College. They will be there, and certainly the contacts will be made at that conference with key people that they'll be able to contact afterwards for follow-up and for assistance, financing, and simply good business practices.
I'd like to ask Doug Roberts. Doug, you are certainly a key factor in the success of the conference, volunteering your time as a speaker to tell of your experiences and to give some encouragement to potential entrepreneurs. Now, you're going to be speaking at the seminar entitled Arts and Crafts Businesses. There's obviously a great deal of talent and enthusiasm in the field of arts and crafts production, but marketing apparently is a real key factor to a successful arts and crafts business. Do you agree with that aspect of it, and what opportunities do you see here for suggestions of marketing?
Yeah, marketing is the majority of the success. Unless it's marketed properly, you'll get nowhere. There's a lot of work involved, a lot of preparatory work, making sure that the idea is basically sound, checking it out. And then there's different systems and networks that can be used, gift shows, agents, personal representation, that sort of thing. But marketing is definitely the key. Unless you take that product and market it elsewhere, it won't work. You know, you've got to get it outside the area. You can't isolate yourself to working here. There's all of Canada to approach, and there's a very large market out there, very large.
We always understand that when people do volunteer their time as speakers, that we're not expecting them to give away trade secrets of their business, but you obviously are prepared to discuss marketing in general and the approaches that you have used for marketing.
Yeah. We've tried several, and we've got down to the ones that we like and that we have the best success with. And I don't mind telling what I find the best ways to do it, and the good sides and bad sides of all different types. We personally go through gift shows mainly because we like to do them ourselves, but there's many other ways, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages.
So something like the gift shows would certainly give you an opportunity to really establish contacts, whether they were used now or at a later time.
Yeah, and that's the key. It does take a period of time, and you do have to go to them and repeat and do them again regularly, and you get to know people. It's like a show. People go there, they know that they're going to find the kind of people like ourselves and other people that are interested. They know they will find them there, and it takes a number of years for them to recognize them, and gradually, I've seen you here before, that must be a good product, I'll maybe talk to you this time, that sort of thing, and it works very well.
Well, it certainly sounds very encouraging for the people out there that have got the ability and to produce local arts and crafts and just need to know the next stage. Do you see an increasing demand for locally produced handcrafted gifts, like high quality ones that certainly seem to be apparent when you even walk around the stores downtown and you see local crafts in the stores?
Mm-hmm. There is a demand for locally made products, definitely, but more than that, there's a demand generally in the retail market, in the retail gift market, for handmade Canadian products. People are really looking for things that are made by individuals or small-scale production kind of items that have a high degree of quality and personal touch. That there is a lot of demand. People are looking for it, and there are now sections of the different shows that are especially set aside for that thing because they're targeting that market area, and it's a growing concern.
I guess the reality of business sets in when, for a lot of people, when the hobby becomes a real business, and then there's a lot of hard work and planning to accompany what was before productive activity, perhaps during their leisure time.
Yeah, it's different. And a lot of people, I think, are not quite prepared for it. You have to realize that suddenly you may not be the same person anymore. Your job description changes. You might not be a craftsperson anymore. Now you're a business person. You're a manager. You're a bookkeeper. And what you do can change quite a bit depending on your success. And a person has to be prepared for that, and also prepared for the length of time it might take to actually get into the market. It's not an overnight thing. It's a matter of getting out there and slogging away at it and keep trying, and just being prepared for it, that it is going to take a certain amount of effort to succeed. But the opportunity is definitely there.
A lot of time and a lot of hard work.
A lot of time, a lot of hard work, yep.
To continue to enjoy the production of arts and crafts and materials, does one have to choose whether to stay only in the production and perhaps sell to retailers and market their crafts or their products that way? Or do they have to really jump in with both feet into all aspects of the business, such as you just described? They have to be a manager and everything else. Is there an opportunity for someone to remain in just the production end of it without having to worry about the rest of it? Or is the business not going to grow if that happens?
There is the opportunity to do that, and I think that my own personal preference of an approach to doing it is not to jump in both feet, because often people will do that, and it's too much for them. They're not able to handle it. The demands on their time are too much. The demands on their finances are too much. The market doesn't pick up the product as quick as they want, and sometimes it can sink a business before it gets started by getting in too deep too fast. Whereas if one was to go about it a little more gradually, pushing a bit further out and increasing the production, yet keeping a hands-on approach, and but definitely having to be prepared that if it does go, that they might just have to take on those other responsibilities, because we've seen things that we go to these shows as retailers as well, and we've seen things there that it's like we want them, and everybody else wants them. And we've seen a lot of people that were just ill-prepared for it, and some cases where we've never seen them again. We never got the orders. They just quit. They couldn't handle it. They weren't prepared for it. And it was too much for them.
So I guess the bottom line is, if you're going to go to market, you better be prepared to get into production.
You have to be prepared for very little work coming out of it, or a lot of work coming out of it. You've got to be prepared that whatever happens, you've got to go with it.
Speaking of hard work, Barrie Taylor, you've been involved in business in the Nelson area for quite some time, and when we were speaking earlier today, you indicated your brief introduction to marketing by doing a traffic count to determine the number of vehicles passing and how that might affect your business. And this is something you did on your own initiative at that time.
Well, that's correct. At the moment, we were undertaking an expansion of a small business, and some of the information I required to help sell this to another company that I was involved, there was no information available. So I did what I had to do. I got some kids, and we ran I guess it was 16-hour traffic flow check with some little counters, and one watched one side of the avenue and one watched the other, and they just all day sat there, and then another shift came on and took over and kept those counters going. So I had real estate people asking me for the information after I made it known that it was.
But there in itself, there was a potential business opportunity in
right.
providing statistics to people from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The information that was available at the time was about 5 to 10 years old, and it just wasn't suitable. I needed what was happening at that immediate point in time. So.
Yeah. The business resource team that was called together by Honourable Howard Dirks includes quite an excellent cross-section of the business community, such as the Economic Development Commission, Marion Bond, and Jack Roddice from Canada Employment Centre, and Paul Wiest from CREDA, and Deb Thomas from the library. So the meetings certainly had a cross-section of representation, including the Chamber of Commerce, of course. Now, as a director of the Nelson Chamber, what role do you see the Chamber of Commerce playing after the conference is over, and after people perhaps have identified a business opportunity and they have been to some of the various agencies? What role can the Chamber play after the conference for information for people who are sort of encouraged to go into business?
Well, like the information I was requiring a few years ago, now there's a library and a business information center that's just being developed within the Chamber. And if you're requiring some hard facts on demographics in the area, on some of the opportunities, some of the pitfalls that you may run into, how to deal with the different levels of government, civic, provincial, whether federal, there's a real resource right within the Chamber, but spreading out from the Chamber, the manager will be able to perhaps put you in contact with some of the directors, some of the other business people in town, and get you some real quick information, something that you may need to start off with. So
they're happy to, if they don't have the specific answer, perhaps to refer to
Certainly.
an agency or someone that can help the individual that needs the information. The Chamber of Commerce in Nelson is handling the registration for the conference, and the registration fee for the conference again is
$40.
$40. And what does that include? Okay,
includes I guess all the materials to the course. There'll be a luncheon at, I believe, about 12:45, and that will put you into the morning and afternoon sessions, but you can only register for, there's 3 parts in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. You have to pick the part where you will meet your needs then. So
our experience has shown that some people are actually disappointed that they can't attend more than one session in the morning and one in the afternoon, and we're wishing it would go for more than the one day so they could attend more. So.
Well, they haven't cloned themselves yet, so I guess they're going to have to figure out a way to do it. So.
Right. As a person with a small business, I guess you've perhaps seen a real growth in small businesses in the area since you've been involved.
Yes, definitely. Nelson, like many communities in the early 80s, suffered some real pains with large type industries that shut down, plywood plants, sawmill, and so a lot of the people, they had talents, but their job description no longer existed, and so a lot of these people are still here today. They've just turned it over, and they've gotten into a small business, and some are doing very successful today. So I find the community is actually, I think, is stronger for what it's been through.
Interesting point. Howard, it must please you, I think, but probably is no surprise that so many local people have been becoming involved in the planning of this business opportunities at Your Doorstep Conference. When you asked a number of the local community leaders to get together and see if we could put something together, there was quite a response. You must be very pleased with that.
Very pleased. This is a very strong community, and it's a very receptive community to any type of activity that will benefit the community. When we had the Winter Games here, for instance, I forget now how many volunteers we had, but I believe it was around 4,500 volunteers. And out of a city this size, even with the outlying areas. So, there's good community spirit here, and certainly that's the strength of a community this size. The strength of a community like Kaslo as well. It's the people that live in it, and what they're willing to do to further benefit the community.
The conference is one of a number planned throughout the province, sponsored by the Honourable Stan Hagan, Ministry of Regional Economic Development. In speaking to Mr. Hagan about the conferences that have been held so far, I assume that the response of the participants that have been recorded might have been part of the reason why you felt it would be very valuable to have one for the Nelson area.
Very definitely. Whenever I hear of one of these programs that is coming about, the first thing I like to do is check with my colleagues to see where it's been and what the reaction in the community was, and if there were any pitfalls or things that might be improved. And invariably, I have talked to like Larry Chalmers and Cliff Sirwa in the Okanagan, and some of my other colleagues that have had this program in their constituency, and they had nothing but praise for it. The people that put it on, the local people that took part in it, it was a good feeling right all the way, and I believe most of them were oversubscribed, really.
Another topic chosen by the group is specialty wood products, and people in the forest industry acknowledge the need to add value to wood products to maximize the utilization of British Columbia's timber resources. Now, do you see potential opportunities in specialty markets, in niche markets, other than the standard products that are being produced at the present time?
Very definitely. I think that may apply to our area better than a lot of other areas because of the size of the mills that we've got in this area that can quickly adjust to a customer's needs. So there is a possibility of one of these small sawmills adjusting if someone came up with an idea that they needed a certain product in order to finish it off and so on, that these small mills can adjust quite rapidly to fill that little niche. So, and we have got more small mills in this area than large mills now. So, in fact, we have a very few large mills in this area. So,
and we certainly have some interesting speakers that have volunteered their time for that particular seminar. I'd like to ask Doug again. Doug, as well as manufacturing your products, you also own some gift shops in the Kootenays. I'd like to ask you how you got started. You know, which came first, the manufacturing of the products on a large scale, or the opening of the gift shops on a retail basis? It's almost like the chicken and egg question, I guess, but it's always an interesting exercise as to when someone gets started that way.
Yeah, I've always been making things and selling them with varying degrees of success. Some are history now, long forgotten about, but the idea for a gift shop came merely because the building we were in with our wood shop had a place that was conducive to having a gift shop. This is in Kaslo, and it was just natural to open something up and sell what we had and other people around the area, and it certainly showed some promise. So as soon as it did, then we decided to pursue that. And we've had very good success in Kaslo, and thought we'd just give it a try in Nelson. And because we enjoy doing it, it's in the field. It gives us another opportunity to be out seeing products that are being made and meeting the people that make them. And
it certainly gives you an opportunity to keep your fingers on the pulse of things as well as being in the production.
Yeah, it's a different side to it that I enjoy, and while you're out doing one thing, you may as well be out doing the other thing.
Now, particularly in the arts and crafts business, what are some of the first moves that potential entrepreneurs should make, in addition, of course, to attending the conference coming up? But what are some of the planning that an individual would have to do if they had an opportunity to be in production in arts and crafts? You know, we've discussed sort of the marketing, but I think there's a stage before that. What decisions do they have to make if they want to get into this type of a business?
First of all, I think they've got to have a good idea whether or not they want to actually be an independent business person, realizing that there is a lot of work involved, and that sometimes it can take quite a while before you'll see a real financial return. You put in a lot of effort, you put in a lot of your financial resources to develop it, and then after a number of years sometimes, it starts to come back. Once a person has decided that, yes, I want to do that, I would say that the next basic step is to really make sure that what it is that they're wanting to go out and make and sell really is a marketable product. And doing that through a very small scale marketing on the side. You know, it's kind of like, don't quit your job until you know that this is going to sell, because there's so many cases of people coming along thinking that this is great, it's going to sell like hotcakes, and Mom likes it, and Aunt Annie likes it, and my friends like it, and they get out there, and the general public doesn't. That does happen, and it's something to be aware of, that when you're out there competing against all the other things in the stores, on the shelves, with all the other things being made from across Canada, that it's a different kind of thing than if you're in a local area and having personal involvement from other people.
Do you see an equal opportunity to develop markets both within the community as well as into other areas such as out of province or even out of country?
Yes, there definitely is. That would again come as to how much you want to be working at what you're doing, how big you want to get. Sometimes the types of shops that will carry a product that you have can be limited in a community. So then you have to start moving out. Because once you start to rely on that, you soon start to realize that, that the profits come with the increased volume. And if you want to have a full-time job doing that, that you do have to increase the volume. And depending on what it is you have, that means looking for new markets.
Proceed in caution and one step at a time.
I would say so, until you know what you're doing and that you're sure.
Yeah. Now, Barrie, back to you. With your involvement in the Chamber and in business, you must see the opportunities in yet another focused industry that the conference will be addressing, and that's small-scale manufacturing, businesses involved in that. And I guess not unlike, to a degree, what Doug is involved in, but perhaps on a different scale. One of the speakers at the small-scale manufacturing seminar will be Stuart Ross of Inside Electronics, which is quite an expanding business, and it's a company that moved to Nelson to be closer to the U.S. Markets, and also I suspect very predominant is the lifestyle reasons. Mm-hmm. And do you agree that these are two good reasons to get into business in the Nelson area, both the lifestyle and proximity to the U.S. market?
Certainly. I've just, with the small business that I have, I talk to people every year. They come in the area, and oftentimes I've found people where they see the community, they fall in love with it, and it's not hard to go back home and sell the idea of coming back to Nelson. But what are we going to do? So I've seen people move here and just they buy a home and they'll figure it out after. They're just so taken with the community.
That brings us to a conclusion on the program, and I would like to thank Honourable Howard Dirks, the MLA for Nelson Creston, to spearhead the initiative to bring the business opportunities at Your Doorstep Conference to the area, and to Doug Roberts, who is also one of our guest speakers, and also to Barrie Taylor, who has agreed to be involved with the conference, and to assist also in the registration. And we'd like to remind everybody that the conference is to be held on Saturday, April the 28th. The Nelson and District Chamber of Commerce is handling the registration, and we certainly advise an early registration. There may be some room at the door, so to speak, but our experience has shown that registration fills up very, very quickly. So in order to reserve your spot, do contact the Nelson and District Chamber of Commerce, and we hope to see you all there on Saturday, April the 28th, 1990, at the Canadian International College.